All right, hey, shalom, shalom. Before I get started, as always, I want to give all praise unto our power, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Salutations and blessings to the hopeful elect, beginning with the 144,000 and the 1/3 of the nation of Israel who are allotted to receive this gospel, as well as who are ordained for salvation in the end of this thing and who are in hope of salvation. All right. To you, I say shalom. This video here will be I would say like a review, back to the basics / not really the basics, because of the history you gotta look into, know a little bit of this, know a little bit of that. Dealing with Daniel the 2nd chapter from verse 40 to 45. All right. Which of course is the fourth beast that shall rule. All right. Whom Yahweh Shai set up to rule in this world, and whose ending will come through the 10 toes, which we are in right now. And just to intro it in, we just gonna jump right into it. Now this is mainly for the newer believers, newer brothers. You know what I'm saying? Because brothers that have been around, they know this information. And the Spirit hopped on me to, just to go over it again, get some review it over again. One of the brothers up in Seattle, the head brother, Kassad, he had sent out this information about the 10 toes, and that inspired me to go over it a little bit, and review it. All right. So first things first, let's jump into. Matter of fact, I said Yahweh Shai created to reign in His world, right? Let's go there to, I believe that's 2nd Ezra, the 11th chapter. Let's see, the fourth beast, okay? Because this is let me see. Yeah, perfect. All right. Now, when you go to Daniel and you deal with Nebuchadnezzar's dream, he dreamed of an image. All right. All right. And then he also dreamed of 4 different beasts. Okay. And the 4th beast, as we know, is the ancient Roman Empire, which was reincarnated into this beast system. All right. With America being at the tip of the spear of the beast system. Okay. So let's start here at let me see. We'll start at 38. All right. It says, 2nd Ezra chapter 11 verse 38. Hear thou, I will talk with thee, and the highest shall say unto thee, are not thou it that remainest of the 4 beasts? Remember, this beast was reincarnated, all right, into what we know today as NATO, all right, which the same countries that are a part of the EU, all right, are basically NATO, all right, which NATO was formed, I believe, 1949, all right, after, that was the beginning of the formation of NATO to build a military alliance against the Soviet Union, all right. That's what NATO was formed for, all right. So, as the scripture reads, are not thou it that remainest of the four beasts, all right, because the end is going to come through these Edomites, which are the four beasts. They're the Edomite ruling age, all right. They're that fourth beast, all right. In Revelation, it tells you that the beast that was wounded unto death, I believe that's 13 and about 11, somewhere around there, all right. But it came back to life, going back to 1949, all right. But then you had these 10 toes, which are a part of the fourth beast, which we're going to get into, all right. So it says, are not thou it that remainest of the four beasts, whom I made to reign in my world, all right. Remember, because this is Yahweh world, all right. All power was given him in heaven and in earth. All right, let's get that in the book of Colossians. Okay, real quick. Colossians 1. And we're going to start at verse 15. All right. Who is the image of the invisible power, the invisible God? All right. The firstborn of every creature, which is Yahweh Shai. Okay. For by him were all things created, that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones. All right. Ancient Rome was a throne. All right. Modern day Rome, or this Edomite ruling structure. All right. Which is NATO, or the beast system. All right, which consists of going back to the 10 toes, what we're going to read about. This Yahweh Shai orchestrated all of this, all right, and he allowed these Edomites to orchestrate this rule and dominance that they've had over the world on the left hand side, all right, because Yahweh Shai is in control of the right and the left, because that power was given to him by our power, the Most High power, Yahweh. All right, when he completed his mission. This is why he said in Matthew the 28th chapter, I believe it's like 18 and 19, all power is given to me in heaven and in earth. All right, this is the representation of that, the power that Yahweh Shai possesses. All right, this is why Esau stands no chance. He's been set up from the jump. Okay. It says, for by him were all things created, that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions. All right. Ancient Rome was a throne and dominion. In modern day Rome, NATO, the beast, NATO, and the EU, this is all dominion of Esau Edom. All right. This is his dominion. Okay. Or principalities or powers. And the principalities that were used were left-hand angels, beginning with Satan, for these devils to establish what they've established. All right. Nothing in the physical happens without the influence from the spiritual realm. All right. It says, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers, all things were created by him and for him. Okay? This is the divine power of our Lord Yahweh Shai, man. All right? And he's going to share this power with his elect. Okay? He's already sharing it with them by opening up our minds to this information. Okay? Let's get the book of Hebrews. I believe that's the second chapter. It might be the first. Let's see. Yeah, it gotta be chapter 1. Let's go back one chapter. Okay, yeah, here we go. Hebrews chapter 1, verse 1. God, or the Most High, who at sundry times and in diverse manners spake in time past unto the fathers by the prophets. And we read about that from the book of Genesis all the way up into the book of Revelation. Okay. Verse 2. Having these last days spoken unto us by his Son, whom he hath appointed heir of all things, by whom also he made the worlds, the different worlds that we have, the different empires that have come and gone. Yahushua has been given power over all of it. All right? All of it, man. Okay? So let's go back to Second Ezra. Okay? Verse 39 again, it says, Are not thou it that remainest of the four beasts, whom I made to reign in my world, all right? That the end of their times might come through them, all right? Who is the them? The Edomites, Idumeans, the so-called white man, Esau, Edom, all right? If you hear any of these groups talking about Esau is Japhet, they have no idea what the hell they're talking about, because that would mean if Esau is Japhet, that means we gotta who is this that's in the power seat? All right? Who is this that's been doing all this reigning on the planet Earth, you know, creating these weapons? Who is this man? If it ain't Esau Edom, this white man. Who is he biblically? See, it don't make sense with these other Israelite groups, man. You know, you got a lot of bootleg, fake-ass Israelites out there, all right? But then you have the prophets, as Apostle Tahar stated in one of his latest videos, all right? I believe it was entitled, IUIC is completely bugged out, or something to that effect, all right? Because you have Israelites, and then you have the prophets of Israel, which are the prophets of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, in whom the Most High sent down to be leaders of the nation. All right? And the only thing that the prophets are here to do is to feed you with knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. That's it. All right? We're not here to marriage counsel you. We're not here, you know, to play basketball with you or do any of these. The main reason the Most High sent the prophets is so that you can learn this knowledge. All right? So that you can be sealed in hope of salvation. Okay? So verse 40, it says, And the fourth came and overcame all the beasts that were past, and had power over the world with great fearfulness, and over the whole compass of the earth with much wicked oppression. And so long time dwelt he upon the earth with deceit. And this is Esau, Edom's rule. Okay? So let's go back to Daniel 2. Or let's go to Daniel 2. Matter of fact, before we do that, I want to read this real quick. Well, first we'll read verse 40. All right, here in Daniel 2 and 40, it says, And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron. All right, Rome. This is ancient Rome that is talking about the fourth kingdom. For as much as iron breaketh in pieces, and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. Now what I did was, I went to Google, did a quick Google, how ancient Rome became so powerful in conquering. And this is the information that came up. Ancient Rome's dominance stemmed from a potent combination of highly disciplined and adaptable military, effective governance, and an ability to assimilate conquered peoples, all right? Because the people they conquered, they enslaved, all right? Just like America, all right? Because America's modern Rome, okay? Or used, as the scriptures say, the whore that sitteth upon the beast, okay? It says, all contributing to its vast territorial expansion and enduring power. It's the same thing America has done throughout the world. All right. Over 800 embassies in different countries. All right. I believe that's the number, 800 different embassies, or the ancient world you would call them garrisons. All right, to police these nations that they conquer. All right, and then you get different you know information on how they became so how they conquered everything. But I want to play this quick videos, like 4 minutes, 3 minutes and some change. Yeah, here we go. This quick little video here, because there's some good information in here. So we'll listen to this real quick and we'll get back to it. All right.
How did the Romans become so powerful? If you've ever wondered how the Romans managed to build one of the most powerful empires in history, you're about to find out. Let's take a journey through time to understand the key factors that contributed to their rise. It all began in 509 BCE when the Roman monarchy was overthrown and the Roman Republic was established. This new system of government allowed 4 elected officials, including 2 consuls, a senate, and popular assemblies, which gave Rome the structure it needed.
Which was the difference between when you read in the scriptures, it tells you that this beast was diverse than all other beasts before it. And that was the Senate that came in, all right? Because prior to this system raising up, this 4th beast, sons inherited thrones. Your firstborn son inherited the throne, okay? But this was the difference, which was diverse than the other beasts, okay? And I believe that's in the Daniel the 7th chapter.
Expand its influence. Rome's expansion started with the Italian peninsula. Through a series of military campaigns, they conquered neighboring city-states like the Etruscans, Samnites, and Gauls.
And you read, you hear the apostles, in particular Apostle Tahar, they go into this history. When they get into the breakdowns, you hear these different words, the Etruscans. You know what I'm saying? You hear these words, and then you go do your own research, and this is how you, give diligence to make your calling and election sure. This is how you study to show thyself approved. Don't just, hear and then, be a regurgitator. Go back and look it up for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Put it in your own mental Rolodex, your own brain, your spirit, so you can have it as arsenal. Okay? When you out there at war with this word, man.
Assimilating them into the Roman Republic. These conquests not only expanded Rome's territory but also brought in new resources and manpower. The Punic Wars, a series of conflicts with Carthage, were a
Punic Wars, you hear the apostles speak about those. And what you do is you just go and you Google these things. And you read about them. You know what I'm saying? Go to YouTube. Look at videos on the Punic Wars and, what were they? And things of that nature, man. Okay? See, these are just hints, so to speak. Highlights to go look up for yourself. All right?
Turning point. These wars, fought over control of the Mediterranean, showcased Rome's military prowess and strategic thinking. The most famous figure from this period was Julius Caesar, who expanded Rome's territories, particularly in Gaul, modern-day France.
Which was, when you go to 2nd Ezra, the 12th chapter, Julius Caesar was one of the 12 feathers. All right? Actually, he's the first of the 12 feathers of Rome. All right? Matter of fact, let me make sure. Let me. I don't want to misquote it. Or the 12 wings. All right? He was one of the 12. Those 12 wings on the eagle represent the 12 Caesars. All right, and you can look up. It's as simple as a Google. All right, 12 Caesars. Look, 12 Caesars of Rome. It just popped up, and it'll give you a whole chronological order. Like I said, Julius was the first one. All right, Julius Caesar, the 12 Caesars. All right. Okay, Julius, and then it gives you Augustus. All right, type. You see, Caligula, Claudius. All right, Nero, which Nero is back. Nero is in sitting in the seat of the president right now. All right, which is D.Ch.2, and this right here looks like his ass, man. This looks like D.Ch.2 right here. This little this art right here, this bust of Nero. All right. So the again, the 12 feathers, when you read about in Second Ezra 12, represent the 12 Caesars of Rome. Okay. It's that simple. You just gotta, fight that lazy demon, fight that demonic force that's trying to force you not to look these things up, because that's indeed what Satan does. All right. So let's go back to that video. Where we at? And I'm just playing this so you get you brothers out there, you know what I'm saying, who are new to this, can get the idea. All right. Because this was all Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai's doing. All right. None of this has happened by coincidence. Zero of it. This is all Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai's doing and making it happen in the physical. All right. As it is written. Let's get that in Isaiah 55 real quick. Isaiah 55. I'm going to go straight to the point. So shall in 11, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void. So everything the Heavenly Father has written in this book, it has to come to pass, because it's impossible for the Most High to lie. All right. The whole Bible is the word of the Most High. All right. And whatever's written in this book, if it hasn't came to pass, it will come to pass. All right. And what's happening right now is that we are in the time of the 10 toes, which are partly strong. All right. As the scriptures say, partly miry clay and partly iron. All right. We are in that time. All right, we're at the end of this man's rule. Okay. So again, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it. All right. And it was the Most High, all right, through his son Yahweh Shai, who sent this word to establish the EU, NATO, the whole Edomite rule system known as the beast in the scriptures. All right. The beast that was wounded unto death.
His actions, however, were not without controversy. In 49 BCE, he crossed the Rubicon River, defying the Senate's orders, which led to a civil war. After his victory, Caesar became dictator but was assassinated in 40 for BCE.
Right. So Julius, he was as you read, he was against the Senate, but then they killed his ass, and that's when the Senate became more and more used with Augustus and things of that nature. All right. So this is basically just a quick 4-minute I'll place this link in the description box. I ain't gonna play the whole thing. Because it'll have me going all over other places. But because I want to focus on the 10 toes in the time that we're in. All right. So if you want to check this out, check the description box. All right, and you can get your little, your points here and read up a little bit on it and whatnot. So let's go back to Dan.Ch.2. All right, now 40, we know that this represents the Roman Empire and how it conquered, all right, and became very dreadful. As a matter of fact, let's go Daniel 7. Let me see. Yeah, here we go. The fourth beast, Daniel 7 and 7. All right, which is Rome. Okay. It says, Daniel 7 and 7. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly. And it had great iron teeth, because their military was great and vast. When they conquered nations, a lot of those nations that were conquered were put into slavery, and they were put into the Roman Empire, the Roman military, so to speak. All right. It says it devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, meaning it had that Senate, and it had 10 horns. All right, which are the different provinces. All right, that came from Rome. Okay, so let's go back to Dan.Ch.2, verse 41. All right, and whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with the miry clay. Now, from ancient Rome all the way up till now, all right, this is the time that this had taken place. All right, because remember, the ancient Roman Empire was wounded on the death, but then it came back to life. All right, in which you had the what they called the European Economic Community, or the EEC. Okay, and what you have here is EEC can refer to several things, including the European Economic Community, which that's what it was at first. And there were 6 nations, 6 Edomite European, which is Edomite nations that formed this EEC. All right. And in 1957, it was coined as the EEC with what they call the Treaty of Rome. All right, which further backs the scriptures that this is Rome all over again. Edomite rule is the Roman Empire all over again. All right, with America being the tip of the spear, the military portion of that beast system. All right. Okay. So this is another, you can check out, do a little research on it, because matter of fact, EEC founding members, let's type that in. And this consists of Belgium, France, Germany, Italy, Luxembourg, and Netherlands. All right. But then it expanded after that. All right. You had different expansions, meaning other countries who came in. All right. The inner 6, which are the starting or the founding nations. All right. Like I said, Belgium, France, West Germany. All right. Italy, Luxembourg, and Netherlands. All right. There it is right there. Okay. And they signed what they call the Treaty of Rome, which proves that these are the Romans. All right. These Idumeans, these Edomites. Why would they name it the Treaty of Rome? because they know that they go back to Rome. All right, that's their rule. All right, and Rome was a vast rule that had conquered the world. All right. Okay, look, the history of the European Union. You could do a little, you know what I'm saying? From 1945, at the end of World War II in Europe, all right? 1949, NATO was created, all right? Okay, and then you just go down, the treaties of Rome. Why are they naming it Rome? Because this is Rome, all right? So we have, you know, this is it right here. Okay? Those beasts represent nations, man. Idumean nations, the EU, the 10 toes, okay? Which started out as 6, right? But then, like I said, you had expansions, all right? From after 1959, you had the first enlargement, as they call it, in 1973, all right? Let's look it up. Let me pull up another Google. I'll just do this. You just type in first expansion of EEC, right? 1973, all right? Which included EEC, which is now the European Union, all right? The EU. It was the EEC at first, which is the European Economic Community, all right? It says, now the European Union occurred in 1973, the ascension of Denmark, Ireland, and the UK. So in 1973, those 3 countries were added. And then Norway would have been the 10th, but it rejected due to some referendum, paperwork type shit, right? So there you have it right there. The scriptures line up, you know. This is the history on the 10 toes right here, okay? Then you had the second enlargement, all right? Matter of fact, I'm going to put in all expansions of the EEC, all right? And then what you're going to see is nations were added as the years went on, and certain nations were added to build stronger stability, all right? They were added, and now I believe the EU is up to 27 nations, which those same 27 nations are a part of NATO, all right? The beast system, all right? Modern Rome, okay? I'm going to put all expansions of EEC after 1959. Well, we just clicked that one. All right. Let's give you Wikipedia. You know what? Let's do this. All right. I already got the history on it, so let's do this. Let's do this because it ain't giving me what I want. I don't feel like clicking them and, going through. But let's do this. Second enlargement of EEC. And I believe that was in 1981. All right, boom. All right, and this is when Greece was added to the European Union, which made it a whole 10. All right, made it a whole 10. Now, mind you, this is the same Rome. All right, but 2,000 years in the future. All right, let's go. What did the book of Dan.Ch.2 say? It says, and whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. And this is these unions, this European Union, all right, going back to the Treaty of Rome, which are all European nations coming together, all right, on the building blocks of world dominance, economic power, social power, the whole nine, all right. But then it was divided. It was, one of the reasons it was divided was due to was after the Cold War, all right. When you go, when you do, just Google search and type in reasons the EU was divided. One of the reasons, and I got it here on my phone. All right, I'm gonna look it up real quick. Okay, there's many reasons, but the main reasons was economic power. Okay, and the divides started to happen going into the 90s. All right, particular year is 1993. All right, that's when the divides began to happen. All right. It says here, key divides within the EU. The economic divide, North versus the South, and this is where you get the BRICS nations that came. No, I'm sorry, not the BRICS nations, but the pigs. All right, the pigs nations. When you look that up. Okay. Pigs nations of the EU. All right, pigs. The pigs nations, an acronym for Portugal, Italy, Ireland, Greece, and Spain. Now, Greece, back in 2020, they had what you called the Brexit. I believe the year was 2020. Is where they left. All right, they left the EU. Okay, it was called the Brexit. All right. Now let's read a little bit. It said the pigs nations, an acronym for Portugal, Italy, Ireland, Greece, and Spain, refer to a group of European Union countries that face significant economic and financial challenges, particularly during the '08 financial crisis and the subsequent Eurozone debt crisis. All right, so this is what made the EU partly miry clay mixed with iron. The iron represent the stronger nations, all right, such as Germany, all right, the Netherlands, Luxembourg, okay, you have Germany, Luxembourg. Let me read it. Netherlands, France, Belgium. These were the weaker nations. The pigs are the weaker, the miry clay nations, so to speak. All right. And what you want to do, just type in strong economic nations in the EU. Let's see what comes up. I ain't never see. They're the largest economies in the EU by GDP. Germany, France, all right, which these are no longer, all right, in the Netherlands, all right, because no, I'm sorry, Italy is it. Italy's there, but I believe it's Spain that's not there anymore. but Spain is a part of the pigs. What is it? Portugal, Ireland, Italy, Spain, and Greece. Well, they here we go. Let's say a major economic power with a diversified economy and strong service sector. France, Italy, another large economy in the EU known for its manufacturing, agriculture sectors. Okay, Spain, all right, economy, a significant economy in the EU, a growing service sector, and the focus on tourism, all right. And then you got the Netherlands, all right. So a part of that divide, okay. Let me type this in, see if it'll come up, all right. Let's see what pops up. See if we can get anything. Let's see. Okay, it gives you a few, all right. But here I have in my phone. This is from Chat.GPT, what I'm reading from. All right, you could use that too. All right, it says key divides. Let me see if I could pull it up on here. I ain't never used Chat.GPT on my computer. Let me see something real quick. Okay, let's type it here. Let's see. Boom. All right. And there you just get your read on. All right. North and South divide. All right. Economic. It said the North-South divide is often characterized by economic and fiscal policies in Northern European countries such as Germany, the Netherlands, and the Nordic countries, and the Southern European countries like Italy, Spain, Greece, and Portugal, which these were what? The pigs nations. All right. With Ireland, supposing needing to be a part of those pigs nations. All right. Minus Greece because Greece has left the EU in the Brexit back in 2020. All right. So basically what I'm showing you is, how to get the information through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Shem Shai, because we already were given the answers from the prophets, but we have to go and study it ourselves. All right. As it is written, study to show thyself approved. All right. And this is a part of it, going in history, man. You know what I'm saying? And I used to hate history back in school, man. I fucking hated it with a passion. I hated reading and all of that. All right. But since I've been in this knowledge, I've gained a liking to it, because now I understand and know what the fuck life is all about, why we here, you know what I'm saying, and why this damn devil is ruling over us. And then the most fascinating part of it is Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai orchestrated all of this, and we have that insight, we have that secret. Amos 3 and 6. All right. He revealeth his secrets unto his servants, the prophets. All right. These are secrets that your Christian pastor ain't going, he won't even know where to start. All right. Okay. See, this Israelite thing of ours is deeper than calling the white man the devil. All right. You gotta get keen with this thing, man. Okay. Now, I'll read this real quick. Just this paragraph. It says, post 1993, after Maastricht Treaty established the European Union, several key divides emerged among member states. Just like the scriptures say, they were divided, largely driven by political, economic, and social factors. These divides shaped EU policies and its internal dynamics. Here are some of the most significant divides. So there you have it. All right, this is how you know what I'm saying, are able, increase your arsenal, your spiritual arsenal. All right. So we ain't gonna go through all of the divide, but going back to Dan.Ch.2. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. All right. You know what the kingdom is. We know who they are. Now you go do your own research and see what was the divide. And it all makes sense. All right. The word of the Heavenly Father is alive, man. This was written thousands of years ago, but the European economic community wasn't established fully and signed into the Treaty of Rome until 1959, but really was established going back to 1945 after the World War II. All right, right along with NATO being assembled. All right, for military might against the Soviet Union. So this was all Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai is doing on the left-hand side, dealing with these Edomites so that his word can be fulfilled. All right, you got all this going on, and people don't think that the Lord is in control of this thing, man. He's been in, we're living in biblical, we've always been living in biblical times, man. You know what I'm saying? Time itself is biblical times, because this is the book of the past, present, and the future. The Holy Bible, man. All right? So now that we got this understanding of the part iron, part miry clay, we understand that this represents the European Union. All right? It says, and as the verse 42, and as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. Again, those are the divides. Matter of fact, let's go back to ChatGPT and say, what nations are strong and what nations are weak within the European Union. Let's just type that in. Oh, I wasn't even typing. Salakia. Come on now, what's going on? Oh, I gotta retype it down here. Oh, okay, here we go. Salakia. The European Union, the terms strong and weak can be interpreted in several ways depending on the context: economic strength, political influence, or social development. Here's a breakdown of EU nations based on various factors. Economic strength, all right? The weaker economies, all right? The strong economies: Germany, France, the Netherlands, Sweden, and Austria, all right? And then you have the weaker economies, Greece, Portugal, Spain, Italy, all right? And then you have Bulgaria, Romania, and Croatia, all right? Okay? So the scriptures are on point. We got all this information at the touch of our fingers on this computer, man, or your phone. Okay? So it says, and as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. All right, because you had those nations being added. All right, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with the clay. All right, and now we're seeing the EU being totally unraveled. Everything is divided right now, 2025. When you look at it, let's type in this. Let's type this in. Let's go. Let's type in. Let's do this in the year 2025 present. How much division is within the EU? As of March 2025, the European Union continues to experience significant internal divisions that impact its cohesion and policy-making processes. Key areas of divergence include foreign policy and defense agreements. And you, like I said, you could go and you do your own research. Fiscal policy disputes, defense spending, economic and trade tensions, the differentiated integration, all right, which goes back to the scripture we just read. Mingle themselves with the seed of men, all right. But they shall not cleave to one another, all right, even as iron is not mixed with clay. So we're in this time, which Daniel wrote over 3,000 years ago, man. All right? This time right here. All right? It's playing out right now in our present. Okay? It's playing out right now in our present. The 10 toes. We're in the time of the 10 toes, all right? Now, the 44th verse, which is one of my favorite verses in the whole scriptures, is because this is actually happening right now. All right. It says, and in the days of these kings, all right, these European unions, as we see them divided, we see these alliances, we see all these different other economic, like you got the WEF, you got the WHO. We see all this forming, but at the same time, it don't take away from what the scriptures say as the EU, all right, the European Union, the 10 toes, and NATO, all right. It don't take away from that, because all those nations that's a part of the EU and NATO, all right, they are part of the WEF and the WHO, all right. And they were all put together. All that's put together by Esau Edom, all right, to gain more control over the world, okay? And as they're doing this, let's read verse 44. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, set up a kingdom, all right, which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people. Where is this kingdom being set up at? All right? It's being set up with the men who are out there on them highways and byways teaching this word in sincerity and truth. The prophets, okay? That's the kingdom that's being set up in the midst of their division. All right? We on the street corners with Bibles. Talk about an underdog story for your ass. All right? In the midst of their world dominance and the divide that they have going on, all right, the fall of their tip of the spear, America, all right, which eventually will be the fall of the whole Edomite ruling power structure when Yahweh Shai returns. All right. In the midst of these devils, the Lord is using the lowest form of I can't even think of the word. But we have no physical or carnal power. All right. He's using us, Lord will, to the end, to bring forth this word and to build each other up so that we can rule the next world. And we're starting literally from the ground, from the mud. All right. And all it took was for the Lord to open up our minds to this book. All right. And this is what has this Edomite scared to death, pursuant to Revelation 11 and 11, Wisdom of Solomon 5 and 1, so on and so forth. This is the kingdom that the Lord is establishing. All right. Right in the midst of these devils. All right. It says, and in the days of these kings shall the power of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Now let's just do something real quick. Let's look at the precepts Esau has for this verse. Let's see what type of precepts he has. All right. In the days of these kings, all right. That one don't really. The God of heaven, which is Yahweh, Dan.Ch.2. There it is. Let's read that. Dan.Ch.2:28. But there is a God in heaven that revealeth secrets, and this is Daniel speaking, and maketh known to the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter days. Thy dream and the visions of thy head upon the bed are these. And then Daniel broke down the whole dream to him. When you go back to Dan.Ch.2, all right? Just like the Lord has revealed his secrets unto us, okay? Set up a kingdom, Genesis 49 and 10. The tents of Judah shall be raised up first. The scepter shall not depart from Judah. The kingdom is talking about the Israelites' kingdom, okay? Psalms 2 and 6. Ye have set yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion. What's the holy hill of Zion? Beginning with the elect, all right? It's the nation of Israel, but beginning with the elect, the holy hill, all right? Is it not written in Isaiah the 9th chapter? And the government shall rest upon his shoulders. Let's get that real quick. Okay. Hills represent governments. Okay. And just right there it says that the Lord has set his king upon the holy hill of Zion. All right. Which it represents the elect. 9 and 7. Isaiah 9 and 7. Of the increase of his government. All right. And peace there shall be no end upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom, to order it and to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth even forever. All right. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this. All right. Daniel 2 and 44. This kingdom shall stand forever and break in pieces all other kingdoms. It's the same kingdom. All right. The upon the throne of David, the house of David, aka the elect. All right. This is what Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai is raising up. Okay? Look at some more precepts. Verse 7. I will declare the decree. The Lord hath said unto me, Thou art my son. This day have I begotten thee. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Thou shalt break them with the rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like the potter's clay, or potter's vessel. Going back to Daniel 2 and 44. All right. Be wise now, therefore, O ye kings, be instructed, ye judges of the earth. Serve the Lord with fear and rejoice with trembling. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry, and ye perish from the way. When his wrath is kindled but a little, blessed are all they that put their trust in him. All right, which are the elect. All right. Another one is here in Psalm 72. All right. Give the king thy judgments, O power, and thy righteousness on the king's son. All right. So we have all the information we need, man. All right. It's just another precepts going back to Dan.Ch.2 44. All right. Okay, talking about the kingdom that's being set up in the midst of these kings, the 10 toes, these European Edomites and their rule. All right. The kingdom that's being set up in the midst of them are the Israelites, point blank, period. And Yahweh Shai is orchestrating this thing from the spirit world to the physical. All right. This is why Yahweh Shai said, and for lo, I am with thee even unto the end of the earth. I think I quoted that earlier in Matthew 28. Let's get that. So when you hear us say a lot of these guys don't understand what they're involved in, this is what we mean. All right. Matthew 28:20, it says, I'm going to start at 19. All right. It says, go ye therefore and teach all nations. And this is that same kingdom. All right, that's being set up in the midst of the 10 toes. All right, beginning with the apostles or the disciples, which became the apostles. All right, which became the 7 different churches going back over 2,000 years ago, which is transferred now into the time that we're living in. Okay, it says, go ye therefore and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. All right, which is what the men of Great Millstone do. We give you the name of the Father. We give you the name of the Son. And when you hear us say, Bahasham Racha HaKodash, that's the Holy Spirit. All right. It says, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you. All right. Mainly the prophecies, which we're going into the prophecies of the 10 toes. All right. And lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. All right. And knowing that Yahweh Shai is the one orchestrating this thing. All right. And you remaining in your lot. All right. There's no room for bragging. There's no room for boasting. There's no room for hating, as they say we do, which is bullshit. There's only what we do is get it correct. All right. Get the doctrine correct. All right. Teach the names of the Most High and His Son. All right. And let's do what we supposed to do so that Yahweh Shai can return. Okay. And raise us up so we can rule the planet Earth. Okay. You got a lot of men that they want to rule, but they weren't in Yahweh Shai's stead, man. Okay, you got the IUIC and the ISUPK, which are these both are bootleg ass Israelite groups. Okay, yeah, they teach the people that they Israel, but they go off on key things. First and foremost, the name. Okay, you notice both those nations. Oh, Elder Ariala did a video yesterday, and he featured Charleston White. I'm talking Elder Ariala out of Dallas. He featured Charleston White speaking about the 501c3s. All right. And then you got 501c4s, which I had never heard of. Very informative information Zaquan brought out in Dallas, man. Especially when it comes to dealing with these 501c3 Israelite groups. They are bought and paid for. Okay. They can't teach what they want. This is why they throw out the JC word, all right? And you rarely hear the Lord's true name, which is Yahweh Shai, because they're bought and paid for. They won't get those different grants. They won't get that tax exempt status if they go against the grain of that 501c3. All right. And this is us here at Great Mate. We don't have no 501c3, man. We strictly highway and byway in our personal YouTube pages to push this word. None of our videos are monetized. All right. We simply push the word of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai in hope that the Lord will have mercy upon our soul. As it is written, he that confesses me before men, him shall I confess before my Father. That's what we want, man. We don't want no praise down here on this earth, man, from nobody. All right? We just want to do the work and hope that the Lord calls us good and faithful servants. All right? Come ye inherit the kingdom. That's our hope. This is why we do this thing, man. Okay? So I'll read this again. It says, 19 and 20 says, go ye therefore and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I commanded you. And lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. Amen. All right. This is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai's program. All right. And ain't no man on this earth above the program. You fall in your lot where you are, man. Okay? And teach the correct doctrine. Okay? So you have all these precepts to show you that the kingdom that's being set up is the kingdom of the Israelites, beginning with Yahweh Shai. Here it is when you go to Psalms 89 again. You know, and it reads, and then you jump around. I'm going to just read this first one. I have made a covenant with my chosen. I have sworn unto my servant, unto David my servant. And you know the history. The prophet Nathan told David that he was going, his throne was going to be established forever. All right. I believe that's 2 Samuel the 12th chapter. Maybe 1 Samuel the 12th chapter. Don't quote me on it. But you can go look that up, man. All right? Or 2 Samuel 7, I believe. 7 12. I did a video on it not too long ago. All right? So as you can see, that kingdom that's being established in the midst of these other kings, the 10 toes, is the kingdom of the Israelites. All right? From the mud. Oh, look, they got Isaiah 9, 6, and 7. See? Okay? So let's go back. And then, the last verse, I know I was a little kind of all over the place, but, like I said, this is just one of those review type, videos where you're going to have to go into history, you know what I'm saying, just to equip your brain. You ain't got to memorize everything, but you got to know what you're talking about. Daniel 2:45, it says, for as much as thou sawest the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, it represents Yahweh Shai, and that it break in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold. The great power have made known, the great God, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, have made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter. And the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof sure. So this dream that Daniel got over 3,000 years ago, all right, is dealing with what we're living now, which is the European Union. See if I got, the European Union nations ruling the planet Earth under the guise of the EU and NATO, which biblically is the beast system. Okay? So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and close it there. This was, like I said, man, a review type video. We are in the time of the 10 toes that are a part of that fourth beast. All right. Okay. From ancient Rome to modern Rome, which is the EU and NATO, the beast system. So Lord will, this was edifying and exhorting, as well as helpful to you new brothers out there. You know what I'm saying? If you wanted to get into this, you know what I'm saying, and equip yourself with you know, going into some of these this this breakdown, you know what I'm saying, so you'll know exactly what you're talking about when you're out there or when you're doing your videos. So, you know, with that, giving all praise unto Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, and we on to the next video. Shalom.